Hello, welcome to Local Anesthetic Podcast, your weekly injection of mind-numbing local news. My name is Alex, and joining us, as always, is Rob. Do you see, Rob, that old slogan which you brought back? It just rolls off the tongue now. You didn't even have to think about it.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's like an old friend. Not too bad. Yeah, not too bad.
Good. Is there any news before we get on with this? Because we've got a lot to cover.
Just a few bits. Thank you to the listeners who wished me happy birthday. That was very much appreciated. Also, just in reference to the last episode, I think if you remember, we mentioned Morley's very briefly. And Steve just writes, just wanted to raise a cheer to the South East London chicken legends Morley's. They don't operate in the East Midlands, for shame. I don't think...
I wondered then, did he used to live in South East London like me? I hope he did, because that is a kind of local knowledge there, I think.
Yeah.
Is that Steve?
Yeah.
Steve, can you let us know if you ever lived there, and if so, where did you live?
I don't know whether it's more than maybe once or twice, so I've definitely eaten Morley's, and it was passable. Right, okay.
I wouldn't risk that anymore. To be honest, if I was going to get fried chicken, I would just go to KFC now, just for the pure that I reckon there are less cases of food poisoning.
Yeah, I do enjoy KFC, I have to say.
That's a great slogan, KFC. KFC, less cases of food poisoning. Less. There's no commitment there. It's fairly non-committal.
Our chicken is now fully cooked.
I just want to say that there is that from what I understand, KFC are all well above board on health and safety. I don't want any litigious, I don't want the Colonel's goons. I've just done it again. The Colonel doesn't have goons. I apologise.
Yeah,
no, look, KFC quality chicken at reasonable prices, lovely. What's the stuff called they put on it?
The
breadcrumbs?
Secrets.
No.
Not secret. Oh yeah, it's breadcrumbs.
A batter? What is it? It's not a batter.
I don't. Just say batter. Batter will do fine. Breaded chicken. I don't know.
Whatever it is, it's finger licking good.
Absolutely.
Free advert there.
Steve has also posted a link to a Kent Online article, which is how to get free tickets to Kent attractions. He said we may like to consider it for Eagle Heights.
And how do you get a free ticket?
You have to enter a ballot.
Have you read it yet?
No, well, you have to enter a ballot. That's all I know. So,
okay, let's do that. Thank you, Steve. Any other news?
No, I think that's it.
Like Rob,
yep.
This is from the Washington Examiner, and it's about Trump's visit to India.
Oh right, okay, so very topical.
Did you hear? He got there and there were sort of massive crowds and everything.
I did, yeah.
But this story was from February the 20th. And I just loved the headline and had to read this out for the listeners. Police in India armed with catapults to protect Trump from rogue troops of monkeys.
Sorry, did you say police are with catapults?
Yes.
So are they? So the idea is that they're catching monkeys and then just blasting them out of the vicinity, or what's going on?
No. Listen, locals in India are warning that President Trump will need protection from wild monkeys during his trip to the country later this month. Up to 700. I can never say it. Is it rhesus monkeys?
Yeah, rhesus monkeys.
Yeah, rhesus macaques roam around, sometimes in troops, near the Taj Mahal in Agra, India. Trump is said to arrive in India on Monday. Today, we are recording for the fastidious amongst you on the 24th of February. 2020. And he's meeting with the country's Prime Minister, Narendra Modi. The terror of the monkeys, this is in quotes, is so pervasive. Can I just say, I love the phrase, the terror of the monkeys.
Yeah, it's quite something. It conjures images of Indiana Jones.
It does, Rob. But I want somebody to do for monkeys what Jaws did for sharks. I think we need a horror film called The Terror of Monkeys, about monkeys who sort of rip people apart.
I mean, Alex, I'm sure if there's a film called Sharknado, I'm sure somewhere there's a horror film involving monkeys, let's be honest.
Anyway, the terror of the monkeys is so pervasive that women and children are scared of going up on the roof of their houses, which have almost all been taken over by monkeys. They're like the equivalent of our foxes, Rob, in London, you know?
I mean, Alex, I've never lived in a house where a fox has taken over, in any shape, way or form.
Where I live is covered in foxes. The roof, the windowsills, the front door, they're everywhere, Rob. It's that like the house is covered in a fox fur jacket.
Over the weekend, so whilst we were in the Cotswolds, we went to a stately home called Sudeley Castle. And
I've heard of that.
Well, it's where Catherine Parr, who was Henry VIII's sixth wife,
Rob,
was buried.
you're losing listeners.
Anyway, so it turns out the owners of the property who still own the building has been in their families for about 200 years after passing through various dynasties. During the 1970s, had a pet badger.
Right.
Yes, you heard
We talked about badgers last week, Rob.
Yeah, this is absolutely true, by the way. So the daughter, and I can't remember the family name, basically grew up with this. The badger was called Brock, and basically grew up with this badger. There's pictures of her playing with the badger in the garden, sitting with her in a pram. It was very. I mean, I have to say, it was a big badger. I mean, at one side they said it was the size of a small bear.
I didn't know. I didn't know you could domesticate a badger.
No, nor did I. I'm not sure. Did it say where it came from? I don't know. But it lived with the family for quite a few years before it mysteriously one night went missing, which makes me very suspicious.
Rob, could you not read this out on the podcast? Could you not get us the lowdown and tell us the story? I'd quite like that.
Oh yeah,
a very nice campfire story.
I think I have a feeling they wrote a children's book about it. So I'll see if I can find the book and some of the text, and I'll read it out next week.
We'll bring back the campfire story.
We'll bring back the campfire. Okay. Anyway, back to the foxes.
Monkeys.
Monkeys.
They said in India today, if a large troop of monkeys attacks Donald Trump's entourage, it will be a disaster. I tell you what, it would be a disaster, but it'd be comedy TV gold.
I was about to say it would be fucking hilarious.
I would love it if primates, Rob, gave Trump his due in a way that the higher order primates, i.e. humans, have not been able to. You know, he went to impeachment. The Republicans' cowardice and cravenness let him get off scot-free, but the monkeys, Rob, rip him apart limb from limb. I mean, it would be biblical, Rob.
What? So they go to the law of the jungle and basically, literally, so as you said, rip him limb from limb, maybe just rip the skin off his naked body. It's quite an image.
Think 2001, Rob, after the monkeys first discover the monolith.
Yep.
And they learn how to use tools, and one tribe ends up really barbarically slaughtering another tribe. That's what I'd like to see here. Actually, no, I wouldn't, because I'm not endorsing anybody killing the President of the United States. I need to make that very clear. I'm just indulging in a light fantasy.
I'll be honest, Alex, I'm terrified now after you mentioned that, because let's face it, we know they're listening.
Yes. Precautions will be taken to shield the president from the animals. Local police will be armed, Rob, with catapults, slingshots to scare off the monkeys, but the Secret Service will be tasked with the brunt of Trump's protection. Apparently, Rob, the monkeys get frightened just by seeing us brandishing slingshots and run away. Taj Mahal security head said. Wouldn't that be amazing, Rob, to be the head of security at the Taj Mahal with your crew of police who all carry around slingshots to ward off monkeys?
There's definitely there has to be a TV series here, something along the lines of Beverly Hills 90210. Obviously set in India, band of cops armed with nothing but slingshots, riding around.
It has to be called Slingshot.
Yeah, riding around in an old Datsun Sunny.
But Rob, there is a proviso here. A police official said, however, that while the handheld catapults frighten individual monkeys, when it comes to whole troops of monkeys, the catapult is completely ineffective.
So what you're saying is that if they mobilise and form some sort of resistance movement, then the catapults just won't cut it anymore.
Exactly. And the country is currently trying to clean up the area ahead of Trump's landing. Fresh water is being pumped into the polluted Yamuna River to cut down on its smell, and walls are being built to hide unsightly areas. So basically, Rob, they're walling off the poor.
Well,
yeah.
I mean,
let's be honest.
And also, it's not the first time any regime has done this. I mean, is it? I mean, let's face it. I'm pretty sure there are parts of the UK when the Queen visits, that's exactly what they do.
Well, the irony is, I'm sure the United States ideally would like it if when people visit the United States, they could wall off Trump and pretend he didn't exist, but they can't.
Yeah, no, that's I think probably a fair observation.
Rob, you got some stories for us there.
So I've got 3 stories. The first 2 are relatively short, but then the third one's a bit lengthier. But anyway, so the first story is from the Swindon Advertiser. It's by the Advertiser reporter, and it's from today, actually. It's quite topical. It's only a short story, as I mentioned. Headline: Swindon DIY enthusiast to take axe charge to trial.
Sorry. That's a lovely collection of words.
Yeah.
Swindon makes it. Swindon DIY enthusiast to take axe charge to trial.
Yeah.
So, is this a Jack Torrance from The Shining sort of episode?
I don't think so. I mean, because there's... Yeah.
Johnny!
Let me go into it. So, a DIY enthusiast denies possession of an axe in a public place without a reasonable excuse.
So that is a fucking crime. That collection of words is a crime. Possession of an axe in a public place without reasonable excuse.
Yeah.
That's a good episode title. And do they just insert different items in there? Possession of a dildo in public without reasonable... Possession of a dead
I'm not sure dildo
sheep
is an
carcass.
offensive weapon. I mean, I don't know. Maybe if you branched as... yeah.
I think... well, in more ways than one, Rob, I think it could be an offensive weapon.
Quite possibly. Yeah, yeah.
It would offend people if you were waving it around in public. You
Good
try
point.
and see what happens. Anyway, go on.
Well, I've done that before, and it did scare a few people.
Rob, can you do me a favour? Tomorrow, on your way to work, can you strap a dildo to your head with gaffer tape and run around central London shouting, "I'm a unicorn"?
I'll give it some serious consideration.
Thank you.
So, Philip Ainsty was allegedly found with a tool in Midwinter, not a euphemism, in Midwinter Close, West Swindon on September 10th. He claimed he picked up the axe from a friend in order to make some kitchen alterations.
That as you do. I'm going to fuck this place up. An axe.
I'm sorry.
Do you know something interesting about me, Rob? Another interesting story. That from my late childhood into my late teens, I had and owned an axe in my bedroom. It was an antique war axe that I found at a church fete. I still remember attending church fetes, Rob, when I was young, and the caretaker used to sell guns at his stall. That's not a joke.
Wow.
I got this axe. Now, it was blunted because it was quite old, but it could have still done serious damage. It was a double-bladed axe, Rob. Medieval.
So what's like that? We did double. I always conjured like Vikings, but bloody hell!
Yeah.
Why did you have this?
Because I bought it from a church fete. I just told you.
Yeah, but
they sold it to an 8-year-old, Rob. Those days were simpler.
Is that true? You were 8?
Yes. They used to, well, maybe 9. They were more simpler times, Rob.
You're right, Alex,
and as I said earlier, it was southeast London. So
yeah, good point. I don't know when I think about kitchen alterations, I don't think the first instrument or tool that you need.
If your plan is to demolish the kitchen, then maybe that's why you've got it. But anyway, Rob, I'm eating into your time. Go on.
Yeah. Appearing before Swindon Magistrates Court, the 41-year-old of Galesworth Close, Linden, pleaded not guilty to the possession of a bladed article. He was bailed for the trial on June 11th. That's it. There's nothing else to that story.
I enjoyed it nevertheless.
Second story is from the Wales Online. It's from the 23rd of February by Bronte Howard. Lovely name.
Oh, stop. Just stop. Let's soak that in. Bronte Howard. Oh. I can imagine her, Rob. I think she's got sort of blonde, soft curls in her hair, but it's quite thick hair, quite long. I think she's maybe Irish. And I can imagine her riding a horse, Rob, over fields. That's what I think of Bronte Howard.
Very nice. I just imagine that she's an extended family of Ron Howard.
Right.
So I say from the Wales Online, the headline: Welsh butcher fed up with vegans naming plant-based food after meat makes giant carrots out of pork.
I want to know what he called it. Okay, right. Fair enough. Yeah, I'm fed up. It's not about Craig, this, is it?
No, it's not. There's no mention of Craig.
He didn't do this, did he?
No,
he's not waving his big pork carrot around Wales, is he, Rob?
Oh my God! Of course, it would be called a pork carrot. Sorry,
look at my pork carrot.
First of all, it's called a penge. Now it's called a pork carrot.
In Scotland or England, that would lead to a swift arrest, by the way, but not in Wales. Just need to be clear. The law is different there.
I mean,
you
it happens every day.
Publicly expose yourself anytime, day or night.
You can get your pork carrot out in any cafe, bowling alley, chiropodist.
It's seen as a sign of friendliness, Rob.
Absolutely, yeah. So a Welsh butcher fed up with vegans naming plant-based foods after meat has gone viral after you created carrots using mincemeat and parsley. Tom Samways, owner of T. Samways High Class Butchers.
Never say that.
I'm glad you said that. It wasn't just me.
Right. As soon as you put that in, it puts doubt in the mind. Why are you saying it's high class?
Yeah, just
it's
say
like
butchers.
saying it's like saying clean and sanitary butchers. You saying it makes me question whether it is completely safe. No, you don't say that. Just call yourself a butchers and yeah.
I don't know why. I quite like the idea of just a butcher's just called completely safe meat.
Yeah, I wouldn't go there. I wouldn't ever go there.
Anyway, said he was so sick of vegan food being named after meat products, he decided to create a meat alternative to the beloved carrot. The root vegetable was recreated using minced pork meat, which was given an orange glaze and finished with parsley to create the leaves. Tom 36 said the carrots had been a hit with the customers, and that his shop had sold more than 300 on Saturday alone. Everyone loved them, he said. It started out as a bit of a joke. They were just a gimmick, but they have gone down well, and we were making more. They'll be back on the shelves tomorrow. He added, the idea came from the fact that a lot of vegan food is named after meat products, like vegan sausages and vegan chicken. I just thought, well, let's make a meat version of vegan food. They're just pork kebabs, really, but they're made from high-quality minced pork meat and are glazed with Italian herb dressing to get that orange look. They're finished off with a nice bit of parsley.
Lovely.
So my last story for this section is also from the Wales Online. It is by Neil Shaw from the 24th of Feb, so that's today. And this, Alex, I've chosen for you. It's because of your favourite, I should say, pizza restaurant, Papa John's. So the headline: Papa John's launches £5,000 crust-encrusted cufflinks.
What?
So,
do you know something, Rob? I read a story that wasn't an April Fool's the other day about some shoes you can buy that look like, I think it was Kentucky Fried Chicken. And it is a KFC thing. And even smelt like them or something. I mean, it was real. I spent ages looking at the story thinking, am I living in some sort of parallel universe? But anyway, let's hear.
Do you know what? I would agree with you, because when I first read this story, I thought, if this wasn't in February, I would have thought this is an April Fool's.
Well, it's like a lot of stories in the world now, Rob. It's like we're just living in one giant April Fool's Day.
Yeah, true. So, this leap year, Papa John's is swapping its crusts for a pair of cuffs with the launch of its 5,000 one-of-a-kind crustlinks, allowing pizza lovers to wear their hearts on their sleeves.
But Rob, these must look like fucking shit.
Oh, they're fucking awful, mate. They're so nasty.
Can I have a look?
Yep.
Give me a second.
So I'll keep reading. To celebrate the month of love and the year of the leap, the pizza chain has partnered with iconic London jewellers DC Jewellery in Hatton Gardens to create the handmade 18-carat gold item.
Rob, this must be an April Fool's joke. I'm looking at it now.
Can you see them?
They look like very small biscuits as cufflinks. Why would Hatton Gardens get involved in this?
They are hideous.
What kind? Who the fuck came up with this promotional idea? They should be fired.
So the unique cufflinks have been created in a bid to encourage women to make their move by proposing to their partners in the true leap year fashion. It gets worse, Alex. The bespoke gift is made even more special by the creative incorporation of Papa John's signature dough hidden within the roby and Savorite, I think that's how it's said, than the Savorite encrusted surface, resembling a classic Papa John's American hot pizza.
Sorry, Rob, if a woman proposed to me, because you're saying that's a leap year tradition, which I didn't know.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
By giving me a pair of Papa John's cufflinks, I think that would be a deal breaker.
Papa John, because Alex, I have to just clarify. It's Papa John's cufflinks with rubies and dough in the cufflinks.
Yes, as I said, I think that'd be a deal breaker.
Fair enough. Papa John's marketing director, here you go, Alex, this is who you're referring to, Giles Codd. Good name.
No, that isn't who I was referring to. Rob, we need to be very clear here to not face any litigation. I was talking about the story I had was the previous CEO of Papa John's, who had to leave due to allegations of racism.
Yeah.
He's no longer anything to do with the company, so they are, to be fair to them now, a new company who shouldn't be tainted by his views, but obviously, whatever.
Yeah, fair enough. So Papa John's marketing director Giles Codd said, "We wanted to create something unique to celebrate the leap year, and we think our 18-karat gold cufflinks are the perfect combination of romance and innovation."
Giles Codd is an idiot.
Yeah, that's probably true. We never thought we'd be able to incorporate our dough into jewellery, but it's happened, and we're excited to contribute towards making one dream couple's proposal
No,
come
true. I'm sorry, Rob. Is this real? What is this moment of reality? Me sitting here at this desk recording this real? This cannot be a genuine story. Am I having, Rob, a psychotic episode?
Alex, what I'll say is, this is a
and
competition.
if I am, why the hell would I fantasize you?
I mean, that's unnecessary.
No, but it's confusing to me. Why?
I think I'm just the object of all your desires.
Well, yeah,
okay.
You're right.
So if anyone is interested, by the way, this is a competition they're running, and to enter the competition,
I hope nobody enters.
They will, Alex. Of course they will. What are you talking about?
Of course they will, because this is a world we're living in now.
So, to enter the competition, women who are keen to make the leap with their lover this year must submit their love stories on how they met their partner to pizzalover@wcommunications.co.uk by the 25th of February 2020. I mean, unfortunately, the date may have elapsed by the time the podcast goes out. The winner will then be contacted with the good news. Remember, the cheesier the story, the better.
Rob, they say that you should pinch yourself to wake yourself up, in case you're dreaming.
Yes.
I have this. Describe for the listener.
It looks like a pen, Alex. Oh, no, why are you showing a screwdriver to me?
It's not a screwdriver. It's a hole puncher. It's a very sharp hole puncher. So now I'm going to jab this right now into my leg, deep into the bone.
Please,
wiggle it around.
Don't do that.
And this way we'll find out whether any of this is real.
Okay.
Okay, it's real. Great.
So yeah, if anyone does want to propose to their partner, any women like to propose to their partner.
Rob, could you speed it up, because I think I might need to go to casualty.
Okay. So get in contact and you could win this pair of fucking hideous cufflinks.
Look, this is the time we've all been waiting for. This collection of short stories I'm going to read you are going to be LA podcasts at its best.
Okay.
Now, Rob, this very much is an update. Now, do you remember, Rob, and I know you do, the man, Rob, who lived down in Bournemouth, the Dorset, who was living with 9 sex dolls? Do you remember that man, Rob?
God, yes, of course.
Can you tell the listeners what you remember about that man?
What, apart from the obvious?
Yeah, no, but what do you remember about the story? I'm just interested.
Well, he had 9 sex dolls.
We watched a video, didn't we, about it? He actually had a video on YouTube because they made a documentary about it called Living with Dolls. Yeah. What do you remember about this guy?
Well, I mean, the one thing I can't remember is whether there was any suggestion he was fucking them. I don't think he was. But he had 9 sex dolls of various ages, I seem to remember, that he used to dress in various different costumes and used to interact with around his house, having tea parties. Was there also mention of a barbecue?
Do you know what? I think you're right. There was a scene of him outside having a barbecue. Look it up, Living with Dolls on YouTube. But and he used to put makeup on them, and he used to do all that himself, didn't he? And he was quite a lonely soul, wasn't he, Rob? He was an older gentleman.
I mean, Alex, I don't think we need to. I think most people will probably guess that he was a lonely soul.
Well, Rob, I'm not, because of some of the things I'm going to say here. Even though he had a very amusing name, I'm not going to use his real name because actually, I just feel I shouldn't.
I mean, we've mentioned it on the podcast before.
Yeah, so if people, but that's done that. It's in the past. So we're going to call him Roger, Rob. Okay.
Roger the doll fucker.
So first of all, I just want to update things. So first of all, this was a story I found from I think it's called the Harriet Daily News, but basically, because it was a foreign story that reported this, I think via the Daily Star, if you know what I mean. But just bear with me. This is only a short bit. But man marries doll in Britain for the second time.
So he's a bigamist as well.
An Englishman married a plastic bride for the second time following failed relationships with real women, the Daily Star reported. So this is about this guy,
Alex,
Roger, down in Dorset.
As I've said before on the podcast, I have intimate knowledge because I used to be a registrar. This man has not married this doll because it would not be legally binding. Let me just make that absolutely clear from
anyway, what the Daily Star reported was that he's been living with the plastic dolls for some time, as we know, because we've seen the documentary, after reportedly deciding, Rob, that women, in quotes, talk too much.
I mean, where do you want to start with that statement?
He had 9 plastic women in his life the past 9 years. His first plastic wife was Caroline, who he married in 2008. His second marriage took place in the early days of March. The doll bride wore a wedding dress during a ceremony attended by his close friends,
Alex,
who I assume were also dolls.
Can I just check something very quickly? When he says women talk too much, he's not talking about the dolls, is he?
No, he's saying that's why he's with the dolls.
Because you're saying he's moving on to another wife, which implies that the first wife may have just been speaking to him too much, and so there may be some underlying mental health issues.
Well, I think that's a given. And apparently the article was finished, the groom was happy, but the bride did not smile, according to a guest. Bit of humour there. Anyway, that's just to let you know the kind of things he's been getting up to. But This is where we get to the meat of stuff, Rob. First of all, I don't know how I missed this, and I apologise. It's an update from October 2000. Well, actually, this is from October 2018. And I think we reported on the story about him living with the dolls after that. And I don't think I knew this particular I remember when I read out that story, it was actually a very old story. And I'd never realised there were updates about what had happened to this guy.
I'm trying to think whether I have a feeling that he may have had the episode title, so it wouldn't be that difficult to find. But anyway, let's carry on.
Well, anyway, this is from the Daily Echo. From October 2018, and then I've got a final story, Rob, from a couple of days ago. Okay. Right? Alex Winter, and I'm not going to reveal his identity. I'm just going to read this story, Rob. And Rob, I want you just to really try and understand that this is it's a poignant story, Rob, of love. And I want you to treat it as such, okay? So I don't want any sniggering, and I definitely don't want any laughing. And I just don't want you undermining this beautiful love story. And I will put some romantic music on. Okay? And this will really remind you, Rob, of a story we covered once in the past. But it is not the same story. Are you ready?
I think so.
A man who rekindled an infatuation he had for a school friend 50 years later has admitted stalking her.
Oh, God.
Rob, you've already broken the code. Roger,
Alex, I'm sorry. Look, I'm not at my best. It was merely a cough. I was just clearing my throat.
Right. Roger, now 62, said he never got over Julie, despite not having seen her since they left school in 1972.
Okay. Yep. That's all completely legitimate so far.
The lifelong bachelor, who lives with 9 fully sized plastic dolls at his home.
Yep.
Decided to try and get back in touch with Julie earlier this year after losing his job. So what did he do, Rob? Well, you'll know what he did. Because of your former profession. What do you think he did?
So, oh God.
What do you think he researched?
He basically tried to track down, I'm guessing, her marriage certificate, probably? Or birth certificate?
He researched birth, deaths and marriage registers in order to find Julie, even obtaining her wedding photo.
Oh, sorry, hang on.
What do you think?
Whoa.
What do you think he did with that?
I mean, where's he got that from?
Well,
I mean, he could only have got that off Facebook or some social media because, let's face it, registrars do not keep that information.
So you say. Roger also turned up at her old family home, where her 88-year-old mother still lived, a court heard this week. Isn't this similar, Rob, to that story Rob and I covered a story once that was very similar to this, and we couldn't remember what episode it was, and we spent literally months, if not years, trying to fucking locate that story. It's very similar.
It's episode 87, according to Amy. I'm really concerned.
Oh, is it? Oh, I can't wait to listen to that again.
I'm really concerned that, he turned up at the house of this woman's mother, knocked on her door. She answers, obviously has no idea who the fuck he is. He introduces himself. She went, "Oh, is that your daughter in the car?" And he turns around and went, yeah.
He's got all 9 of them in the back, Rob.
Legs hanging out the boot, some of them hanging out the window. Yeah, they're fine.
Rob, it's a picnic.
Absolutely, Alex. Anyway. Yeah.
Anyway, although Roger was told to leave, he went on to send 8 letters addressed to Julie in a bid to speak with her. He also went jogging past her home every day for 4 months, although he never stopped. And he once followed a woman he thought might be her from the property.
Alex, I'm starting to feel very uncomfortable about this story.
Julie didn't respond to his letters, Rob.
Really? What a surprise.
Julie didn't respond to his letters, but she and her mother became alarmed when Roger made a joke about kidnapping her. And they reported the former IT software engineer to the police. A joke, Rob.
Again, I'm really concerned.
Let's keep the decorum.
In the letter, he enclosed a picture of him surrounded by these women. That's what I'm concerned about. As you can see, Julie, I just want to meet for a coffee. I'm happily married. These are my children. Do you fancy a piece of cake? Not you.
All I'll say is, Rob, you've got to hope that he didn't include pictures, and you'll have to wait for why. So just hold on to that. Anyway, Roger initially denied his behaviour amounted to harassment. However, during an appearance at Magistrates Court this week, he admitted stalking Julie and harassing her mother. The prosecutor said that Roger and Julie were at school together between 1968 and 1972. He said Roger had an infatuation with her, which was not reciprocated. They last saw each other on the last day of school in 1972. Roger went to the old family home in May this year, the court heard. When Julie answered the door, she immediately recognised him and shut the door when he tried to give her a letter. However, he then sent a series of letters. In one, Roger said, in a, in quotes, light-hearted way, that his, in quotes, kidnapping days were over.
I mean,
Don't worry, my kidnapping days are over. I just thought I'd get in touch. I like the cut of his jib, Rob.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Okay, as you said, let's keep the decorum. Maybe we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, I've got quite a dark sense of humour.
Give him the benefit of... I want you to hold on to that for when we get to the next article. Give him the benefit of the doubt. What were you saying?
No, just that. I mean, like I said, I've got a dark sense of humour, but then I try to be... I try to be mindful about when that comes out. I have to know someone before I'm able to make these kind of jokes. I wouldn't do that to someone that I've been, first of all, haven't seen for the best part of 40, 50 years.
I'm trying to woo.
Yeah, I'm trying to invite out on a date. And second of all, do you know what? I don't know where I'm going the second. I think the first one's strong enough.
Well, the mitigating officer, who was kind of defending him, said there was never any threat. And he said, he tells me I'm an unconventional person. I find it difficult to communicate. He felt with Julie there was an opportunity. Redundancy caused him to take stock of his life, and all he wanted to do was see if he could rekindle a friendship with her. And, the case was adjourned and for pre-sentence reports to be prepared. You got that, Rob?
Okay, so I think you said there's another one from a few days ago.
Literally from the 22nd of February. So what happened was my father sent me this and said, have you seen this? And he wasn't to know that we'd originally reported on this man. And when I saw it, I thought, I can't believe this. This is from the 22nd of February, again by Alex Winter. So just a couple of days ago, again from the Bournemouth Echo. I don't know how to report on this story, Rob. And I have to say now at the get-go, and I am saying it now at the get-go, that there are elements of this story I am unable to report on. There will be elements of this story that are redacted, that have to be, but I will read the bits that I can. Okay.
I'm not ready for this. I'm just not prepared. Part of me is delighted, and part of me is genuinely terrified.
Well, I'll tell you the first bit of the sentence. A man who lives with 9 fully sized plastic dolls at his home. What?
Kidnapped an old flame?
Rob, do you know what? I reckon we could stay here for the rest of our lives and you'd never guess. Like monkeys. They say if you put enough monkeys in a room with typewriters, eventually they'll do the complete works of Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Bullshit. They'll never get this. Rob, you got 3 guesses. A man who lives with 9 fully sized plastic dolls at his home. What?
Well, as I said before, kidnaps his ex-lover. Oh no, they were never even.
She was never his lover, Rob.
Yeah. So kidnaps his ex-crush.
No.
Goes on a cruise and catches the coronavirus.
No. Right, Rob. I'm going to give you one guess. And the only thing I can say is I had to think very carefully whether to read this out. But given we are a news-based podcast, and given we reported this story before, I had to say it.
Cuts the head off a cat?
It's the closest you've got. A man, Rob, who lives with 9 fully sized plastic dolls at his home, took a dead sheep and deer into his bedroom. A court heard on
sorry,
Friday.
whoa. The actual fuck.
No.
I mean,
Benefit of the doubt, Rob.
I mean, that escalated quickly. Also, again, I said I was scared before. Now this is turning bad.
A photograph of an, in quotes, possibly naked Roger posing
my
with
God.
the What do they mean, possibly naked, by the way? Either he is or he isn't.
I just think it's a bad
Maybe he's wearing a
photograph.
flesh-coloured bodysuit.
Or maybe one of the dolls was just naked in front of him, and it was in a really dark room, so they couldn't see.
Yeah. Well,
His magnificent breasts.
listen to this paragraph, Rob, and decide whether you ever expected this. A photograph of a possibly naked Roger posing with the sheep carcass was found by police as they raided his home in connection with a separate offence.
Obviously we've talked about the graduation theory on this podcast many, many times, and given the fact that, first of all, this is a man who lives by himself with 9. I mean, let's be honest, sex dolls. Yeah,
well, they are sex dolls. I mean,
he's now been. We don't know whether he was convicted, but
no, Rob.
was
That's
stalking.
the key thing is here is they discovered the images because there were pictures of this when investigating allegations of harassment and stalking.
Oh God!
So we have to consider this was still going on. They raided his home, and they found. Right. So here we go. Roger later admitted both counts. He had rekindled an infatuation for a school friend 50 years later and began stalking her despite not having seen her since they left school. The prosecutor said Roger had his computer seized from his home in September 2018 in relation to an unrelated investigation. Police then examined his computer and he was arrested again in June. So among certain images, which I can't talk about, among 20 extreme porn images was a picture of Roger with the dead sheep. Now, what do you think he told police, Rob?
The sheep happened to stumble in his house. It was already quite ill and just managed to find its way upstairs and just collapsed on the floor.
No, Rob, I like the very simple, straightforward explanation. He told police he'd found the sheep on a farm before taking it back to his home and posing with it.
Why did he have to take it home? Why could he not just pose with it where he found it?
Well, Rob, given that we know he was lying in bed with the carcass, why do you think?
I mean, everything. You know, I enjoy a bit of al fresco. Intercourse.
What the fuck does that mean? What the fuck is al fresco intercourse?
It's my latest album.
What's al fresco intercourse?
I'm not sure that's that's not an actual phrase, by the way. I've just coined that. Well, al fresco means outside, I believe.
Yeah, it does, in the cool air, Rob.
Yeah.
Listen. He went on to describe
that would be a jazz album without a doubt. Al fresco.
Rob, I absolutely love it. Can we just trademark that straight away? Listen. So he told police he found the sheep on a farm before taking it back to his home and posing with it. And tantalisingly, Rob, he went on to describe another incident involving a deer. But they don't say what it was. Obviously there was another incident involving a deer because you also found with a dead deer in your bed. That, Rob, the mind boggles.
It honestly does, yeah. I've got nothing on that.
Asked about the images, Roger admitted he had taken them but said it was many years ago. The judge said, as far as we know, does he give a rational explanation of what can only be described as depraved behaviour? The mitigating officer said that Roger hadn't offered any explanation to the probation service, but said officers from the service believe he does not pose a serious risk to the public. And sadly, he was diagnosed with prostate cancer in 2019. He's been through chemotherapy. He tells me he has a reduced interest in sex. And apparently Roger is very fearful of the prison environment. As I think you would be following these revelations. And the judge told the defendant there was an element of depravity to his defending. I love the phrase, an element of depravity. He said, despite careful inquiries and long discussions, the probation service is unable to fully understand what precisely drove you to have this activity in your life. Your view is that you weren't harming anybody, and it's entirely something you kept to yourself. Whether you kept it to yourself or not, it's illegal. The judge said he had the choice between a short custodial sentence and a community order and decided the public would best be served as Roger continuing to work with officials. He received a 12-month community order with a 30 rehabilitation activity requirement days and 5-year sexual harm prevention order.
What an amazing set of stories.
Now, Rob, there were 120 comments on this article. I think I'm only reading 2.
Okay.
But they're up there.
Okay.
The Right Honourable Alfie Noakes GCSE says... yes. I suppose that the only thing that could be said about having a dead sheep in the bedroom is that after the act, in quotes, you don't have to go to all the fuss of going to the shops to get dinner.
Good point. Yeah.
It is a very good point. And my favourite comment, Smooth Report, just says, just goes to show that you can judge a book by its cover. A while ago, there was a story about this nonce and his 9 foot...
Good Lord. Okay.
A while ago, there was a story about this nonce and his 9 fully sized plastic dolls. Can I just say, Rob, a story about a nonce and his 9 fully sized plastic dolls is a brilliant episode title, but I don't think we can have it.
No, I don't.
If you could replace the word nonce with something else, then I think it works.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but I think there's something. I know we shouldn't use it, but there's something about the term nonce.
Sounds like a modern day Grimm's fairy tale, Rob.
Yes, it does, absolutely.
He's the equivalent of Snow White.
No, he's
just
really
living
not.
with 9 sex dolls instead of 7 dwarfs.
And animal carcasses
Well, yeah.
that
Anyway,
he may or may not have been intimate with.
I've got to read this comment out to its conclusion before we end this segment. Just goes to show you can judge a book by its cover. A while ago, there was a story about this nonce and his 9 fully sized plastic dolls, and so many commentators on here saying it was fine, he wasn't harming anyone. Tell that to Sean and Bambi now!
I mean, there's nothing else I need to say. That's the perfect end.
Okay, everybody, it is time for our listener story of the week. And who's it from?
So this week it's from Steve in Derby. I mean, as if anyone needs any clarification there. It's by Lee Brown from the 17th of February. It's from the New York Post. Obviously not the most reputable publications, but even so. So, the headline. Woman brings mini service horse onto plane into first class.
Okay. I don't know what a mini service horse is. What the fuck is that?
To all intents and purposes, it is basically just an emotional support horse.
No, I don't mean that. I mean, what is a mini service horse?
It's a small horse.
Why is it called a service horse?
That I can't tell you.
Isn't a small horse a pony?
It could be a Shetland. It could be Shetland pony technically. Yes.
Yeah, pony's a pony.
But it's like it's more than an emotional support horse. I think I'm selling it short. It's more like a seeing eye dog, for instance.
Is it also a sex companion?
There's no indication of that.
Imagine trying to join the Mile High Club with a small service horse in the loos. Actually, don't imagine it.
Yeah.
It's fine. Yeah. Okay.
So, this flyer wasn't horsing around. A Michigan woman started other passengers on a recent series of flights when she brought aboard a mini service horse and travelled with him in first class to California. Now, I think I'm going to mispronounce the name. I think it's Ronica Forsey. I think that's how it's pronounced. Made the journey starting on February 7th with her equine companion.
I'm sorry, I've had it. I'm sorry, Rob. The people who've been listening to this gradual breakdown of this podcast, I've now had it. I need to say something. Looking after people's mental health is extremely important. But what the fuck happened? What Rubicon did we pass when we said, right, so airlines have a you cannot bring animals on board policy. It was there when I was a kid. It's been there for God knows how long. You can't bring animals on board, apart from obviously like a guide dog, for obvious reasons. At what point did we get to the stage of saying if you can bring an emotional support animal on board, and this ridiculous craze that's been happening where people can just basically, by the way, in America, all you've got to do is go to the doctor and say, I suffer from anxiety, I need this in order to travel. And that way you can just take your dog with you wherever you want to go. Why don't airlines just have a policy of saying, look, our rule is no animals on flights. If you don't feel able to fly without an emotional support animal, we suggest you seek psychological counselling to help you get over this phobia.
Yeah, fair.
I mean, why not? We all have to follow rules, no?
But I think, again, Alex, I mean, without trying to be discriminatory, I think this is more than emotional support. I mean, I think she's.
So what if I had a dog that died, but I kept its dead, lifeless body around in the house because it still provided me with emotional support. I mean, would I be able to bring that on board? And if not, why not?
Alex, I think it all depends on, first of all, whether you're naked, whether you found the dog's corpse on a farm, and where you took it home to get some pictures.
Okay. But honestly, Rob, what is happening? This is a breakdown, Rob.
Yeah, I know, Alex. Yeah, this is the fall of Rome.
I feel like in Revelations, when it's describing the end times, it should have said, and in those days, people will bring animals on their travels and claim they need them for emotional support.
Quite possible. Do you know what? Actually, this is quite strange. I don't know. When I woke up this morning, I think I'd had a strange dream, and something about this dream had convinced me that I'm not sure I should be saying this, that the coronavirus was the equivalent of the Great Flood in the Bible.
But maybe it is, Rob.
Possibly. I mean, there's sandstorms as well around the country. Where the I think they're in the Canary Islands, where they're literally, completely.
I was thinking about you today, by the way, because I'm aware you need to be extra careful because you have some asthma.
I do.
Around this coronavirus, you have to be careful, Rob.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I've got my emotional support donkey, so I should be fine.
All right, good.
So, Ronica Feroci made the journey starting on February 7th with her equine companion Fred, who was specially trained to make high-altitude trips.
Fuck off! What do you mean? What do you mean he's been specially trained to make high-altitude trips?
She's basically what she did. She got some balloons, just tied it around him, so he just floated up. I don't know. It doesn't.
What do you
say.
mean he's been specially trained? Are you telling me that this woman with more money than sense has been taking him on, increasingly high altitude flights to get him trained?
I don't. It doesn't say. It doesn't say, Alex. I'm sorry. I think he's allowed gone. He's obviously gone on quite a number of flights and has obviously just become acclimatized to the altitude. I don't know.
Fred, with previous experience of doing missions with NASA.
You don't know that's not the case. She said, I paid an arm and a leg for the ticket, but I did so because it was Fred's first time and I wanted him to be comfortable. So...
Oh, for fuck's sake.
This was his first time, but he's used to high altitudes. How does that work?
He's been specially trained. Yeah, he's not been there, but he's been specially trained. So they must have simulated. So basically, she takes him along to some ex-military guys who basically spend a couple of hours chucking Fred up in the air very high and catching him. And just shouting, get used to it.
I like the idea that she's paid for Fred to go on like a hot air balloon ride at sunset.
Yeah, or she's taken him up lifts, like up the Empire State Building.
Yeah, maybe.
That kind of thing. Dangled him out of windows.
Yeah, maybe causing him more trauma than, anyway. So, I wanted him to have the most room, she said. Feroci, who trained Fred, who was dressed in a sleek suit that made him look like a lucha libre wrestler, to be a therapy and a service horse, said everyone was as sweet as pie. She said,
right, so service horse is different than therapy horse. I want to know what the service... Does he bring her in like room service? Is that what he does? Does she call him and he wanders into the bathroom with a towel when she's done showering? What the fuck? Rob, when did we move? Yes, I want you to hear this. Yep. When did we transition from my childhood of My Little Pony to what is going on now, My Little Emotional Support Pony? I'm quite proud of that. I like that. My Little Emotional Support Pony. What the fuck?
When did that change? When did things start going so horrendously wrong? That's a genuine question, by the way. I'm trying to think when that took place.
Well, I've told you. I said this before, haven't I? I said that. Well,
yeah. So
maybe something happened at the millennium. Maybe Y2K really happened, and none of us were aware of it. And we've all slipped into this parallel dimension.
Maybe Y2K, or maybe Y2K was something else than what we anticipated. Maybe we thought it was just a computer bug, but maybe it just changed the course of history and actually has some sort of temporal anomaly or something along those lines.
Yes.
I'm going to start a conspiracy podcast. Anyway.
I'd like to be part of that.
Yeah, well, we'll talk off air. She said the experience was way better than I'd actually anticipated. Fred's flying days may soon be a thing of the past. However, with the US Transportation Department recently announcing plans to tighten the laws so that only dogs actually trained to help the disabled qualify for flights. Oh,
brilliant. So they're actually now changing this. You can't bring any fucking animal on board.
They are, yeah.
Your goose.
Your goose, peacock, hamster, etc. Cut out of Donald Trump, and so Surprisingly, Feroci seems to agree in part, telling WXMI that the system is out of control. Which is, I find very ironic when she's taking a pony onto a flight.
It's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
I've just got an image of these airplanes where she's there with the pony. There's a guy next to her with a fucking peacock. What happens when these animals square off against each other? This is my gorilla, okay? I'm bringing a gorilla on board.
It's a fight to the death, Alex. You know, you can't help these things. It's a very much abused process. There are a lot of untrained animal service animals. Is she taking the
piss? Is she taking the piss?
Alex, I should say, I mean, the picture isn't particularly clear, but it looks as though, oh my God, how did I not realise there's a video? Hang on, bear with me. Let me watch this video. When it fucking loads. So, okay, I'll narrate for you. So there's a picture of this. I mean, literally, it's just dressed in lycra. It's got a load of saddle bags. I think she...
So it is a service horse. It's carrying her bags.
It is a service horse, I think. And also, I think she may be in a wheelchair, which makes me feel slightly bad. But
you fucking idiot.
It's not a horse. It's clearly a pony. No, she's not in a wheelchair because she's standing.
Oh, right. Okay. We can feel good about joking about her again.
Yeah. Alex, the horse uses a litter tray. The horse lives in the house with her.
Are they making love?
No.
Rob, how about this for an idea? How's this?
Go on.
The airline companies get together and they say, you know, they really want to support people with this problem. They're putting on a special day of flights for everybody to come along with whatever emotional support animal they want. Okay?
Yep.
A all paid up trip to somewhere exotic. And let's just say those planes head towards the Bermuda Triangle. That would alleviate this problem, wouldn't it?
Wow. I'm not sure you're advocating there, Alex, but yeah, I'm on board.
I'm saying a trip to Bermuda. Lovely.
Yeah. The reason I got confused, by the way, there is another picture. And
then we leave them there.
Yeah.
And leave them Lord of the Flies style. And we see how long it takes, Rob, for them to eat those animals.
Actually,
when they're abandoned on a desert island.
But maybe
with nobody there.
Maybe that's the way we determine what the best service animals. So the last service animal standing can be the one that's allowed on flights.
Can I just say I've got a great idea for a cartoon? You know, like a New Yorker style cartoon?
Yeah. Go on.
Woman outside a flight, about to board the flight with her pony or whatever, saying, "This is my emotional support pony." And the emotional support pony just says to the customs officer, "I don't give a shit how she feels."
Nice. Oh, that's very good, Alex. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Just to say, the reason I got slightly confused, because there is a lady in a wheelchair, and it doesn't relate to this article because it's a related story. And the headline of that story is "Emotional support squirrel gets woman kicked off flight, passengers cheer."
You might want to cover that.
Yeah, I think I might do, actually. Yeah.
A fucking squirrel.
An emotional support
squirrel.
Yeah, squirrel. Yeah.
They're not even domesticated.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Look, Rob, sorry, I need to calm down. On that note, Rob, we come to the end of this extraordinary podcast, Rob. We bring this episode to a close and we look forward with a mixture of eager anticipation yet trepidation to our next episode, which will be 305. And I should remind listeners, Rob, that I did promise that on episode 310, I will reveal, finally, the dark secret of episode 300. Our 300th episode had a very dark secret hidden within it, and I will reveal that on episode 310, and you have to remind me, Rob, because I will likely forget. Anyway, Rob, as we move ever more forward, I don't know what to say, Rob, or where to go. As we, I don't want to mention the sheep.
What have we covered? Like
a man realising we're living in a parallel dimension, completely sick of everything that's going on in the world, losing his mind, whipping out his genitalia in a busy Welsh street and shouting, "Look at my pork carrot." Just like that, we move ever more forward. Or a man running around central London tomorrow, as I hope Rob will be, with a dildo strapped to his forehead, shouting, "Look at me, I'm a unicorn." Just like that, we move ever more forward to our next episode, 305. 5. We can be found on our website, lapodcast.net. From there, you can download all of our previous episodes. There is a donate button. If you really enjoy this podcast, you'd like to donate to us, help us pay for that trip to Eagle Heights me and Rob want to go on. You can set up a one-time donation or rolling donation. We'd really appreciate that. On whatever podcast app you're using to listen to us, subscribe, leave a review. It all really helps us. We are on Spotify as well. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/LA Podcast, and we are on Twitter at LA Podcast. And if you want to submit a story, if you found something which you think is worthy of Local Anesthetic Podcast, post it on Facebook, tweet it to us, or email us the good old-fashioned way, lapodcast.net @gmail.com. That's lapodcast.net @gmail.com. Over to you, Rob.
What am I supposed to be saying?
I'm giving you some responsibility for ending the episode for once.
Oh, okay, brilliant. There's a few things I've been meaning to get off my chest now. No, there's not actually. Just listeners, all I want to say
I was really looking forward to that. I sat back in my chair. Oh, good. What's Rob going to come out?
No, I just want to say to our listeners, have a lovely week.
We could have that as our new feature. Rob gets things off his chest at the end. Just things that have irritated you in the week. It can be one word, 2 words. What things, Rob, have irritated you in the week?
I mean, it's quite early on in the week. What's irritated me so far? Ooh, that's a good one. The tube, it's too busy. Hot take there.
You're not curmudgeonly enough, Rob.
No, I know. I mean, that was off the top of my head. Give me a week to think about it, and I'll really get the bile
off
out.
The top of your head, and all you could come up with is the tube.
I mean, Alex, I was off last week. I mean, you know, I'm still relatively chilled. I mean, like I said, give it a week, and that'll change.
Okay. God bless.
And keep it local.